Hello and greetings from inside the paddock, actually inside the stalls. Hi Dream, how you doing? We're going to talk about teenagers today, right? You love those teenagers. So I just want to spend a few minutes talking about why I am so passionate about having teenagers in the paddock for equine assisted psychotherapy, not just in general, although I think it's cool having kids in the paddock, period. So to me, one of the things that's really interesting that happens is that normally teenagers, in my experience, are not the most talkative creatures often. I think there's a lot of parents who will, sort of acknowledge and realize that, yeah, teenagers say, oh no, whatever, yeah. Like those are some of their mainstays of their conversations. And then you're going to send them to a therapist office to sit in a room and talk about feelings and experiences that they don't want to talk about with you, the people who love them. And now you want them to do it with somebody who they don't know. So one of the cool things about equine assisted psychotherapy with teenagers is, first of all, most of the time kids are not paying attention once we're in the paddock with, they're not paying attention to what's going on with, I'm just going to try to see if you can see her a little bit while we're talking. They're not paying to their phone, paying attention to their phone nearly as much. For them, their phone becomes not as nearly as important as when it does when they're at home or in a therapy room. So, hey girl. Yeah, you gonna say hi? What do you think? So once they're out here, I'm standing, right? Look at, I'm not tall, but I'm not short. She's a big girl. So she's going to help me to keep kids engaged in ways maybe I wouldn't be able to do in the office. So given that, what it then does is it's about me setting up an activity or an intervention to help kids to figure out and work through stuff. Some of it's me processing stuff with them or exploring things with them, but most of the work happens between them and the horse, not between them and me, the therapist. The four-legged therapists do more of the work. My job is to make sure that I get it set up so that it creates opportunity for them to do the work. So once they're out and they're doing an activity, I'll certainly be checking in with them. And frankly, sometimes the activities are for me to understand what's going on as well as for them to understand what's going on. I had one person who I was working with who was really struggling with getting to school. And all the stuff that everyone tried didn't seem to be really helping. And I really wasn't feeling like this was a kid who was being, stubborn or resistant. I really got that the kid couldn't get themselves into the school building. And a big part of what helped us to figure out how to get things working in the way that they wanted was with the horse. And being able to see what happens for the kid in the paddock then helped me to design interventions out here for them that help them to figure it all out. I've also had kids out here who have lots of struggles with self-esteem, with relationships, with boundaries, with anxiety, with anger. And the difference is that they learn by doing, not just by talking. And believe me, I spend probably 2/3 to 3/4 of my time in the office. And I love working with teenagers in the office, and some kids do a great job and it works wonderfully. But some kids, they need to actually be doing it and experiencing it and learning it in that way. And for those kinds of kids, this is an incredible model because they get to be outside. They're not in another building after being in school all day. They're outside. The horses, provide comic relief, frankly, sometimes. Snorting, flapping, farting, all kinds of things because they're horses and they do what they do. But at the end of the sessions, usually kids leave feeling a little lighter, a little inspired, maybe with a skill. Now, it doesn't mean it gets fixed overnight, but I have seen that there are kids that this model works way more efficiently and effectively than being in the office. And so that's one of the reasons why I love doing it. Now, That's not to say that the same things don't hold true for adults and for couples and for families. They do. But when I think about how hard it is to be a teenager, you know, we're trying to figure out who we want to be. We're trying to figure out how to become our own person separate from our friends and our family. We're trying to decide what we're going to do with the rest of our lives, whether it's college or a job, and you got your hormones raging, and your brain hasn't fully developed yet. I mean, your frontal lobe doesn't finish growing until you're 25 in most cases. So you don't have the best impulse control. You're trying to navigate peer relationships in a totally different way. It's hard. And that's the way it's been forever. That's without adding in social media, and all the other stuff that comes along with being a teenager these days, right? In some ways, it's way more complicated. So I guess as I'm going to wind down, because I don't want this to ramble on too long, I do just want to end with saying that, think about it. If you are a teenager or you know a teenager who could use some help, and that the idea of going and sitting in the office is very unappealing, or hasn't been helpful in the past, maybe equine-assisted psychotherapy would be something that could be really different and engaging. And Dream, Tilly, and I, we're here. We're ready to work. We want to help. So reach out, give me a call, shoot me an email. I mean, the girls, I think you're going to have to go through me, not through the horses directly, but we would love to hear from you. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.